Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Date today is the 13th. The 13th. Oh, Friday the 13th. Whoa, it's Friday the 13th. Year of our Lord 2024. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motel Noah, the program where we produce an hour of quality television every Monday and Friday. There's zero chance that we do the full hour today. I don't know what it is. Something's in the air. Something's festering. There's 0% chance that we do it. You know what I have looked into a little bit recently is public access. I haven't figured out why I want to do that, but I was like, what can I do on public access here in Illinois? Is there like a local... That's how far I didn't even get. I got stopped because I was like, oh, so it's just not a thing in 2024? Like, it's a thing, but it's ironically, the accessibility piece of the whole thing is just not really there. So I just kind of had to punt and be like, all right, well, I guess I won't do public access then. You got to have an in. I don't know who I need to know in order to get a program on public access, but I don't believe that's going to be in the cards. Something else I was thinking about recently, too, is, I've talked a little bit before about, like, man, wouldn't it be cool to be a mayor of, like, some, like, small rinky-dink town in, like, I don't know, Illinois. Go to Southern Illinois. It's a bunch of conservatives. I could swing that for sure. Oh, my God. I know the playbook. I know all of the right little switches to flip. You know what I mean? I know exactly what to say to get elected. You know what's funny is I sound exactly like Donald Trump right now. Remember in, like, there's an interview from, like, the late 80s or the early 90s when he's like, well, it's actually, it's a disaster. And this is true. This is a disaster what the modern-day establishment Republicans have done to this country. It's a disaster. And, I don't know, maybe I will get into politics someday. But, if I did, I would run as a Republican. And he was like, because they're dumb. That's basically what he said. He's like, they're easily manipulatable. If I can get away with making up word. And then that's actually what he did. Like 30, 40 years later, it's exactly what he did. I'd probably do the same thing. Probably going to do the same thing. I'm getting sidetracked here. It's not even how the show is supposed to start, but we're already off the... We're taxiing right now. We're not off the runway. Let's see where this takes us, right? And so an idea that I had is like, okay, it'd be cool to be a mayor. But I was like, wouldn't it be also fun to go to some small town and just like not harass a mayor, but like really get in their ass and be like, so what do you do here? And like try to reveal corruption in some small town in middle America, like a flyover state that otherwise people wouldn't know, right? But I don't know, just harass it. Again, not harass, but harass like some small municipality, something like that. I thought that would be fun to do. That's kind of happening here. That's been a thing at this damn condo association that we live in. There's been a lot of drama. We keep getting I say keep getting, it happened like twice. We've gotten communication from, I don't know if it's coming directly from our condo association or our homeowners association, but there was recently a board vote for people to be on the homeowners association board for our condo association. And I guess there was some misinformation being spread in some back channels on like fucking Telegram or something. And so the condo association had to send out communication being like, we don't know who is spreading this misinformation, but please do not, if you are participating in this HOA Telegram chat, please do not listen to them. They were saying shit like, so we were recently having a bunch of exterior maintenance done on each of the buildings around us. And they spent like 3 weeks doing it. I think they just wrapped it up. At least they did on our building. It was really annoying. And not like intrusive or invasive, but it was very disruptive. And basically, we got communication being, is this interesting at all? Let me cut to the chase. Where is the chase and how do I cut to it? I just thought it was funny that there was some HOA drama going on. And I was like, this is something that I feel like usually I should care about and I should get involved in. I was like, whoa, there's a Telegram chat where people are, oh, right. And so they said that the repairs were temporary and they were fake repairs. They were fake news repairs. And that the condo association was actually fucking over the residents. There's a whole thing. And then the condo association was like, don't listen to them. It's not true. These are really good repairs. There are many such cases. And this is true. People are saying that these repairs on the exterior of these buildings are beautiful. Where was I going with this? Yeah, it'd be cool to be a mayor someday. I don't know if I could do that, though. Because I don't think I would be great at it, but I do think that I would care a lot about it. I do think that I would care a lot about the constituents. let's talk about some hoops today, folks. You know, I got online the other day. I logged on in the morning, just like in general. Like I logged on to the internet. And I saw something that I perked my little eyebrow a little bit. I did that little eyebrow raise that I like to do. Jimmy Butler is on the trade market. The hell? I asked the boys over at the shoot around about it. And I was like, so where did this come from? I was like, I missed this completely. I was like, suddenly I woke up and everybody is talking about this. Every basketball creator that you can conceive of is making a video about, ooh, Jimmy Butler, he's on the market. Where is he going to go? I just didn't really understand what the source here was. Like, what was the origin of all this happening? I guess Shams fired off some tweets where he was like, yeah, the Heat are taking calls. If you have an offer on Jimmy Butler, let the Miami Heat know. Okay, all right. Now, this has been bubbling for a little bit. We've had this in the whole Jimmy Butler Miami Heat breakup has been in the crock pot for a little bit now. A year and some change, we've kind of been hearing some whisperings. By the end of this contract, I think he has 2 more years left, but he has a player option this summer. He's 35, 36, going to be 36 next year. So he's getting up there. He's going to get 1 more contract in the NBA, you hope, and then he's fucking gone forever, hopefully, right? But okay, so Jimmy Butler's on the trade market, and I haven't been too plugged into this in terms of where people are hypothesizing that he's going to go, except for Golden State. Golden State seems to be the team that people are yeah, for sure. And that would track because what you've seen a lot from the Warriors recently is Jonathan Kuminga. And we've been through some ebbs and we've been through some flows with Jonathan Kuminga. There's an argument to be made. So we ended the season 7 months ago, with the Golden State Warriors, and Kuminga was in a big-time flow because the way that he ended last season, I guess maybe I could have pulled these numbers up, but if you go back and look at Jonathan Kuminga's middle of February to the last game of the season, he was nuts. And then to start the season, he was sneaky in the doghouse a little bit, it seemed like. And then suddenly the Warriors are really putting Jonathan Kuminga on display. And they're look at this guy. For no reason at all. Just look at this guy. We're not trying to put him out there and prop him up and be hey, does anybody want this guy? Because we want a Jimmy Butler type character. That's not why they're doing it. Stop accusing the Warriors of putting Jonathan Kuminga out there on the floor as bait. Well, he's playing well. And if I'm a Miami Heat team, is that the best that I can get? Off the top of your head, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Stop thinking about it. If I offer you Jonathan Kuminga and stuff for Jimmy Butler, who says no to that? I don't know if it's Miami because, well, if you're Miami, do you want, what? You just have to conceptualize, what is the package, not the package moving forward, but what's the plan? What's the core is maybe the word here. So it's Bam, for sure. On this program, we've said a few times in the past, it is going to be kind of interesting to see what a Bam Adebayo team, a Bam Adebayo-led team is going to look like. And then you also have a guy like Tyler Hero, right, who this season has been awesome. I swear to God, every single time I wake up in the morning and I put on Get Up or I put on First Take, the bottom ticker will flash the Miami Heat score from the previous night, and it'll be Tyler Hero, 7 of 9 from 3. Or he set a single game franchise record for the Miami Heat with made threes. Or he set a single quarter record for the Miami Heat with, threes made in a quarter. Something like that. It's always something with Tyler Hero this year, so he's been on a sneaky heater. Had a garbage fit on the other night, though. Him and Jimmy were up at the podium. And the reporter was asking, the genesis of it was who's the leading scorer? Who's the 1A scorer on the team or something? Who's the number 1 scorer? And Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler kind of getting this funny back and forth. It was lighthearted. Nobody was actually mad. It was a good clip of them getting back and forth, who's 1A and who's 1B of the top dog on the team in terms of scoring the ball. But Tyler Hero's fit was horrible. He had the garbage snapback flat bill Heat culture hat. Strike 1. He had Pit Vipers on. Not really Pit Vipers, but the PC Principal adjacent glasses. Strike 2. And I fucking hate him. Strike 3. Get out of there, Tyler Hero. But they're probably going to hang on to him, right? This is about Jimmy Butler. And what ended up being said on the shoot around that I think was the right take is you're only going to trade for Jimmy Butler this season right now if you believe that him on your team is what pushes you over the edge to win you a championship. And so if you're Golden State, is that Jimmy? Do you think that's Jimmy? A question for the panel. Is that Jimmy Butler? Does that push them into the upper echelon of NBA? Because they've been better than I thought they were going to be this year. Like a full hand up. I thought the Warriors were just going to be like, strike 4. They stink this year. And I was like preemptively, I spent all summer like just being bummed out about it because I was like, damn, like we're really going to spend the twilight years of Steph's career just kind of going through the motions and like playing for like a semi-competitive team. Maybe they like bullshit their way into like an 8th seed or, well, by that point they would be in the play-in, right? I didn't really think, nope, they're good. They've been pretty decent to start the season. Does a Jimmy Butler type character, does it really give them that much? I don't know. I don't guess. I don't know. I don't really care. Do you really want to send that guy to Silicon Valley? Really? The crypto scammer? That's who you want? Because that's the real take here. If I'm Jimmy Butler in this situation, not if I'm Jimmy Butler, but rather I'm looking at this situation and I'm looking at Jimmy Butler and this breakup that is on the precipice of happening with the Miami Heat. So, okay, let's just go backwards in time. Rewind the VCR. I always fucked that up as a kid. I always fucked up rewinding the VCR. I was also averse. Is this the word? Is this how I use this word? I loved tearing the tape out of the VCR. And I was never the one to screw it back in. I still to this day don't know how to do that. I was just really good. I did know how to tear the tape out of the VCR. But anyways, so if we rewind the timeline on this whole thing, Jimmy Butler leaves Chicago. He was an asshole. He like threw Derrick Rose under the bus, like took out an op-ed in the Sun Times and was like, this place fucking stinks. I hate Derrick Rose. Traded to Minnesota on draft night. Okay. And then, isn't that how the Timberwolves got Zach LaVine? I think that's how that happened. Because the pick got, anyways. Then he goes to Minnesota. It's his second team. And then the infamous practice that happened. And he was like, get me the fuck out of here. Rachel Nichols was already boots on the ground in Minnesota, I guess. Being like, reporting live from the scene. This happened 20 minutes ago, Rachel. How are you already there? Okay. And so then he gets shipped to the Sixers. And then I don't honestly remember how that one ended. I remember it ended poorly, but I don't really remember why. It was probably something similar where he was like, Joel Embiid fucking stinks. It couldn't have been that. No, it couldn't have been that because to this day, Joel Embiid will say nice things about Jimmy Butler. He just did it like 2 weeks ago. I'll admit I don't remember how that one ended, but I remember that it wasn't. Would they not pay him? Is that what it was? Did he hate Brett Brown? Is that what it was? I don't think it had anything to do with Ben Simmons. I don't remember. But he maybe that was the first instance of him not self-destructing is maybe what it was and like leaving a fucking disaster in his wake. And then he ends up in Miami, which is like sneaky where he's wanted to be all along. And it also just made sense. It made complete sense. The most villainous team in the NBA. Sure, just add like the biggest asshole in the league. I mean that in an endearing way, by the way. The marriage actually made sense. But where I'm going with this is, wait, so they're just going to break up and that's kind of it? There's not going to be like a blow up? There's not going to be an 11th hour crash out from Jimmy Butler? I need that to happen. I need it from him or I need it from Pat Riley. Because Pat Riley has just been like, honk, shoo, me. In terms of like, I don't want to say relevancy because he's Pat Riley. He's Pat Riley. He will always be relevant even 50 years after he's dead. Like he's Pat Riley. You know what I mean? But we just like don't get anything from him anymore. And so I would love if he continues this narrative push that he hates Jimmy. Because that's kind of what we've gotten. So earlier when I said that this has kind of been bubbling up for a little bit, it's been in the crock pot, you know? It's mainly just because Pat Riley's been like, hey, this whole thing where we suck in the regular season and then we put ourselves up into like just a bad situation in the postseason and then Jimmy Butler just has to be fucking Superman. That's not fun. That's not cute. Like I would love to have some sort of a competitive advantage once we actually get to the postseason. And Jimmy Butler, like, famously doesn't play games. He just doesn't play that many games. Hasn't played more than 65 games since 2017. 2018? One of those 2 years. Doesn't play that many games, honestly, which contributes to the Miami Heat just like being not that awesome in the regular season, and then they flip that switch in the postseason, right? Should be in jail for crypto scamming, and you're going to send that guy to Silicon Valley. You're going to send him to work around or work amongst all of the other lizards. That's what you're going to do? Okay. All of the shadow people, that's what you're going to do? This guy's going to pump so many shit coins, he's going to seem like he's going to make the Hawk Tua girl look like the fucking Rizzler. Jesus, what a fucking word salad sentence that was. As it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh man, that was not even in the, half of what I just said was not in the Webster's dictionary. So Jimmy Butler's on the move? Oh, okay. You know what's kind of grabbed my attention? I don't know how to frame what I'm about to say. So let's walk through it and see what I can say that I mean. Let's start with, I think the New Orleans Pelicans fire sale is more consequential than a Jimmy Butler trade. Let's see if that's what I mean. It's not that. I can already tell. I can already identify that it's not that. I'm in the grassy knoll. It is not. Consequential is not the word. Maybe it's just interesting. Because you're seeing a Pelicans team who, gun to my head, the last 5 weeks of the season, I could not tell you who is injured and who is healthy. If I looked at the injury report or I watched Pelicans games, I could tell you. But I'm not doing that. I'm not doing either of those things. Hand up. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not doing either of those things, right? But what we're hearing is like, yeah, maybe we just like strip this thing for parts and we re-roll the dice, you know. Let's do the lottery thing. Maybe Cooper Flag. We got lucky once. The Zion thing happened. Now, I don't know if I don't think they would blow it up to the extent that they would be. Well, it wouldn't matter if they're blowing it up to the extent that they're full on tanking. In the West, I don't think it would matter. If you trade BI or you trade Zion, regardless of injuries, like oh, they're always fucking hurt. Is that even true with Brandon Ingram? Is he even really always that hurt? Because like Zion, sure, you could get away with saying that. So Brandon Ingram has played 18 games this season. That's not that bad. If we just go back in time, last year 64, the year before 45, 55, 61, 62, 52, 59, 79. That's his entire career. Yeah, I mean, there's a few years in there that are kind of like 45 games. I don't know. I don't remember what that injury was, but like 55, 61, 62, 52. Like, yeah, 52 is kind of low. But you know what I mean? Like, some of those numbers are just kind of par for the course. So, yeah, I'm not going to shit on him. Brandon Ingram, for the most part, plays in games. And then you go up and down the roster, and you're like, okay, so who's gettable? The Zion thing is just, you want to talk about shit that's been festering and bubbling up. The Zion thing, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Has there been something on that I've missed? I don't know. The Brandon Ingram thing, that's 100% happening this year. There's no way. There's a 95. I'll hedge my bet a little bit there. There's a 95% chance that the Brandon Ingram thing happens this year. And you know what's interesting? Just something to put up, especially because he's on an expiring deal. Holy shit, $36 million this year, and he's nothing after that. Something to put a pin in. If you're a Pistons fan, I've been chewing on this all day. It's not just that the December 15th exception deadline is about to come up, and so all of the recently signed, whatever the 2K bullshit is, it's like basically what it is in real life. A lot of action could happen in the next like 2 weeks, right? And I look at a Pistons team who, when you factor in all of the money that it's like $10 million in open cap, it's like $8 or $9 million in exceptions. We're looking at upwards of $20 million that the Pistons can absorb. Trajan Langdon has said that they're in like asset acquisition mode. That's what they're doing, capital acquisition mode. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that the Pistons could get in on a fire sale like the Pelicans are putting on right now. Not only what I just said, but also the fact that, hey, where did Trajan Langdon just come from? Where was he working 1 year ago? Yeah, it was the Pelicans. Like, this guy has relationships. They don't have that many new guys. A lot of the players that we'd be talking about here, he has relationships with. So I don't think it's that inconceivable to think that, again, they could swoop in on one of these guys, take some money, even if it's a bad contract, right? If there's some capital strapped to it, I don't think it's crazy to think that the Pistons would want to get in on some of that action. And by the way, this transcends the Pelicans. Look at any bad contract in the league. Again, I don't think it's inconceivable to think that the Pistons would want to get in on something like that. Is it going to be CJ McCollum? Nah, no, probably not. Culture-wise, I don't think so. Good culture guy. Just a good, amazing dude. Is he still the president of the PA? I don't think he is. I think it's somebody else now. It might still be CJ, though. DeJounte Murray, that would be crazy. There's no way. There's no way they're going to trade him. Herb Jones, didn't they just extend him? Probably not him. I would like that if... I don't want to do that to you, Pels fans. Some of you that are out there. Why are you trying to trade my favorite player? I'm not. I'd like him. I'd like him on my team. But so would, aside from you and I, the 28 other franchises that are in the NBA. So, like, how much does that really say? Congrats. You have a guy that not only does every team in the NBA want in Herb Jones, but a guy who could actually play on every single one of those teams. There aren't that many plug-and-play guys in the NBA where you could look at them, pick a roster, they could play with those guys 1 through 7, right? Wherever you want to put them. Herb Jones is 100% one of those guys. There aren't that many guys in the NBA on defense who, if they're being guarded one-on-one, like the way the dudes are with Herb Jones, they will, like, pass out of it. As soon as they touch the ball, they're like, I'm not fucking with this guy. Because you can't, because he's Herb Jones. Ever heard of him? Who else do we have? Trey Murphy? Sneaky, you could put him in. Everything I just said about Herb Jones, like, sans the defense and just, like, put it to, what's his 3-ball look like this year? What is it? And this is not a numbers program, right? We don't really do numbers around here. He's averaging 18 a game this year? What the hell? Trey Murphy averaging 18 a game this season for the Pelicans on 34% from 3. Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 8 attempts a game. Yeah, I mean, if we could bump that to, like, 38, 39, I don't think that's unreasonable. Just hit a couple more. Just like a little bit more. Wow, that's crazy. I had no idea. Who else do we have on here? Jordan Hawkins. I liked him in college. I don't like him in the NBA. I don't care about him in the NBA. Daniel Tice is still... Yeah, did I know that? Did I know that? Doesn't matter. Jose Alvarado. You can't do it to him. The pride of Puerto Rico. Love Jose Alvarado. Yes, he can shoot. By the way. Love him, but I don't think that... They're paying Jalen Noel. Why? Must have been on the team at some point, I reckon. They're not just paying him $278,000 just because, just twiddling their thumbs, being like, you can have a check from us. I'm Gail Benson. I'm literally Gail Benson. You can have as much money as you want. I don't care. Is he the one from Kansas State? Beat Michigan State in the tourney. Little dude? Is that Jalen Noel? Could just look at it. I'm not going to do that, though. It's probably him. It's like the Wired autocomplete Reddit undercover. It's actually me, but it's actually Jalen Noel, and he went to Kansas State. Is that him? So what do I mean by all of this? Why do I think it's more interesting? Well, any time that a team is just going to completely blow shit up and they actually have parts to sell, that's fun. That's fun. What I want the Pistons to get in on the Brandon Ingram sweepstakes. I don't think that would be smart at all. Because I think that we have a good, and this is where it gets tricky, honestly, is not to sound like brain dead. The Pistons don't have a winning record, and maybe I'm just disillusioned by what a good team even looks like in Detroit, given the last few seasons. I feel very comfortable with the roster that we have, and I don't really want to, like, fuck up the depth just to, like, definitely not for Brandon Ingram. I would do it for Zion. We'll talk about that in a second, maybe. Because some of you out there trade Stu. I mean... You'll have to if you want to get either of these guys or any big money guy. You'll have to include Isaiah Stewart just to make the finances work, right? The Jalen Duren crowd still still rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is. Still bothers me. I don't think it's easy for any player who's been in the NBA for 3 seasons to have 3 different coaches. And also to have the ankle problems that he does. If that's what you're mad about, sure. If you're mad, Reddit seems to think that he doesn't want to guard centers. They're like, if an actual NBA center goes up against Jalen Duren, he's food. I'm like, I don't know. I don't see it. So then it's like, who else would it be? I don't honestly want to trade Tobias Harris. I don't think the box scores that often would pop out at you, but I think culture-wise, we talk about like CJ McCollum being a culture guy that you don't really want to trade. Like just a vet, that presence, and how much it matters to have a guy in the locker room who has played on winning teams, and has played competitive, meaningful basketball. That's important. That's valuable. We're literally seeing it in Detroit this season, how important and valuable that can be. So I don't really want it to be him. You're not going to get that much for Tim Hardaway Jr. Again, there's not that much reason to trade him right now. You're damn sure not trading Malik Beasley. If you are trading Malik Beasley, it's at the deadline, and at that point, the Pistons have just like, something's gone horribly wrong with the season. You know what I mean? And you can get, you're not going to get a first for him, because even the teams who would be picking at the tail end of the draft and could offer up, whatever first, it definitely wouldn't be for this season. But all of those teams have also probably, their cupboard is empty. They got nothing left capital-wise, unless it would be for like 2029. If you want a 2029 first, they're going to lottery protect it. If the only first that you have to trade is for 2029 and you're going to lottery protect it, that tells me that you've expended all of the capital that you have to win right now. And by 2029, you've probably committed to the idea that you're going to fucking stink. Which means if you're lottery protecting it, or even like top 10 protecting it, the odds of that conveying are just low. And so at that point, what did you even... And I'm creating a straw man and getting mad about something that hasn't even fucking happened. But it's like, if you're a GM and you make a trade for a draft pick that's 5 years down, 4 years down the line, sometimes even 3 years down the line, if you make a trade for a 2027 first right now, there are 2 ways to look at it. One, dog, you don't even know if you're going to have this job by 2027. Sure, if everything goes according to plan, the way that you foresee it, yeah, you'll still have a job. The other way to look at it is, well, you have to keep me around and let me actually make these picks so I can prove to you that I've been 5-heading, 3D chessing this thing the whole time, right? I guess. But then as a fan, like, that's just a shitty asset. That's not an actual asset. If you're in asset acquisition mode, then getting a pick that's a few years down the line. So if that's what you get for Malik Beasley, if it's 2 seconds, one for this year and one for next year, I'm dusting my hands. Let's fucking do it. Nah, not right now. But again, if something has gone horribly wrong by the trade deadline, yeah, that's like the going rate for like a good role player. 2 seconds? I don't know, I guess. Isn't he only on a 1-year deal anyways? I'm not going to be able to look that up right now. If he's on more than a 1-year deal, then fuck that. Run it back next year. Who else do we have on here? Oh, yeah, Zion Williamson. Man. 36.7 million this season. 39.4 next. 26-27 is 42.1. And then 27-28 is 44.8. Am I nuts to say that that's actually not that much money? Speaking comparatively, because by the time we get to 27-28 and Zion Williamson is making just under $45 million a season, you know how many guys are going to be in the 50s? How many guys are going to be in the 60s? A lot. Like, by the time Zion is making $45 million a season, a high-end role player will be making damn near 30. Like, seriously. So, it's not that, the league just keeps making more money. So, I'm actually not that worried about the money, but it's just everything. It's all the baggage. Any program you've listened to, I don't need to be the guy to explain to you that, like, last season he played a lot of games. He played, like, all of them, and then he got hurt at the worst possible time in the play-in, which was like seemingly a non-contact injury, and it sucked. because it finally happened. Zion's like 23, 24 years old, and he's finally playing in a quote-unquote playoff game, like a very meaningful basketball game. And he was awesome, and then it just didn't happen. He's made an all-rookie team. He's only made 2 all-star teams, which, I mean, I don't know, only 2 all-star teams. Well, he's played, 5 seasons, and he missed an entire one 3 years ago? Is that a disappointment? Yes. I'd say a profound one. Hasn't made an all-star game in almost 3 years. If he doesn't make one this year, it's been 3 years since he's made an all-star game. And is that true? Is it 2 years ago? Yeah, I've got this fucked up. It would be 2 years since he's made one. Played 70 games last year. 29 the year before. Missed the entire season before. Then it was 61. His rookie season, it was 24. The guy who was blowing through sneakers at Duke, that guy can't stay healthy. I don't know. I say all of that. I would love it if we traded for him. What does that make me? What does that make me as a Pistons fan? Folks, let's do some emails. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. This one comes into us from Alan. Alan, welcome to the show. Subject line, 2016, greatest year in sports history? This came to me when you were talking about the headphone and your sleeves thing and mentioned graduating in 2016. Parenthetically, I also definitely did this headphones thing all the way across the country. Do you remember the hoodies with the headphones in the hoodie strings also? I kind of remember those, just to break the email. I kind of remember those in the same way that I kind of remember when we were a kid, we had this, I don't know what to call it. It played music. It was like the size of a quarter. And this was like the early mid 2000s, and it took cartridges, and each cartridge only had one song on it, and all we had was like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and you just put that in, and you would play one song, and then you have to take it out, and you have to put a different one in to play a different song. You get me? I kind of remember that the same way I kind of remember the tech of headphones in hoodie strings. Back to the email. Was our senior year, being 2016, possibly the greatest year in sports history? Patriots come back in the Super Bowl. LeBron 3-1 comeback. Penguins win the first Stanley Cup of 2 in a row. Parenthetically, those were my guys. Shout out to Matt Murray, who the Penguins ridiculously let go to the Vegas expansion team in the draft and then never saw success again. What a disgrace. But a great Stanley Cup series regardless, despite your unjust hatred of Sidney Crosby. Let's break the email right there. We got a few things to cover. So unfortunately, the Super Bowl in 2016, February of 2016, the Super Bowl was the Panthers and the Broncos. So the 2016 season, the Super Bowl was played in 2017. I believe that's not even true, is it? Wasn't the 2017 Super Bowl, was that Nick Foles? Or was that 2018? And then the Falcons 28-3 was in some form, but the point was 17 and 18. The point being, unfortunately, 2016 was Cam Newton's only Super Bowl appearance. Peyton Manning goes out with a Super Bowl win. His brain is fucked up. His spine is fucked up. He literally can't feel his fingers. Throws 100 touchdowns in the season and then wins the Super Bowl. Cam Newton pretends to dive on a football and then bitches out of it. He's like, nope. Cam Newton has become such a quality member of the media, and I really like listening to him speak. The Panthers at the time, regular season, they were 15-2. Holy smokes, they were good. Was it maybe 16-1? They were really good that year. And it was like the quickest bandwagon that you've ever seen. People jumped on it. People loved Cam Newton in Carolina. Because it was reminiscent of like not a Michael Vick, but just in terms of mobility and the power that he had as a quarterback, as a runner, and as a passer, but you know what I mean? That dynamic ability was just so fun for people. But that was the Super Bowl in 2016, even though it was technically the 2015 season. Still have to include it. You know, you got to count it that way. And then you said the thing about the expansion draft as a Penguins fan. Well, Marc-Andre Fleury, didn't he also get taken away? And he went to Vegas, and then they went to the Stanley Cup in the first year, and then eventually didn't they win it? Didn't they actually win it too, like 2 years later or something? I know they went in their first year, but they also had Marc-Andre Fleury. Yeah. My unjust hatred of Sidney Crosby, brother, look in the fucking mirror. he was Sidney Crybaby to the rest of the league for 10 years. I'll give you this. I will admit to you this. At this point in 2024, I'm the outlier on this. I'm one of the only people who won't just let it go. Because most people, Sidney Crosby at a point in his career were like, he's still doing it. He's still so good. And you just appreciate that as a spectacle. You appreciate the longevity piece of the whole thing. Like the same way you do with Ovechkin. Although, did people really ever hate him? I would not believe people. How happy was the hockey world when Ovechkin finally won a Stanley Cup just a few years ago? I remember even I shed a tear. It was like, holy shit, that's one of the all-time greats, and he finally did it. Good for him. And then he was on pace to break Gretzky's goal record this year, and then he got hurt for 100 years. He's in the gulag. Who the fuck knows where Ovechkin is right now? So just on the Sidney Crosby thing, everybody fucking hated him. Literally everybody did. But I agree with you that now it's kind of get over it. I just won't. Let's get back to the email. March Madness was truly the maddest. That finals game was insane. This was the Dante DiVincenzo game-winning shot that was followed by a previously incredible shot from the North Carolina game. Truly electric game. Once again, gotta cut it right there. That game, it was not Dante DiVincenzo that hit that shot. I get why you're confused, though. Where the wires got crossed, I get what happened here. You were thinking white Italian guy. What happened was Marcus Page for North Carolina hits the most bonkers fucking shot that you've ever seen in your life to, I think, tie the game is what it was. So there's a couple seconds left. Villanova gets the ball. The national championship. Jim Nantz on the call, by the way. Him, Bill Raftery, and who would it have been? Grant Hill? But it was Jim Nantz on the call. Villanova comes down the floor. White Italian guy you're thinking of was Ryan Arcidiacono. They run an action where he does a handoff to Chris Jenkins. Chris Jenkins takes the shot. Villanova for the championship. Oh, and then everybody fucking goes nuts. What's crazy is, so that's what it was. It was not Dante DiVincenzo. You were close, different white Italian. It was just a mini racism. You can't be racist to Italians. But I'll try my hardest to do it. That's basically all that happened. What's crazy is I remember reacting to the Marcus Page shot from North Carolina. I was watching it on a fucking iPad. I threw it across the room because I could not believe I just witnessed a shot that crazy. If I died tomorrow, I would say that was the better shot. That was the crazier fucking shot. I don't care. The stakes of the game winning, this is backyard, you're in the driveway shit, man. I'm taking a 3 to win the national championship. For sure, brother. That's what dreams are made of. But the degree of difficulty on that Marcus Page shot, I've still to this day, I would take that shot, and I'm not bullshitting, I would take the Marcus Page North Carolina shot over the Steph in Oklahoma City double bang during the 73-9 season. When he pulled up from, Steph, what does he say? Curry from way downtown. Mike Breen doesn't even have time to describe what the fuck is happening. Bang! Bang! Holy shit, I'm taking the Marcus Page shot. But as history would remember it, Chris Jenkins receives the handoff from a different white Italian, not Dante DiVincenzo, Ryan Arcidiacono, and he bangs it in. So it was still awesome, but I just had to do it. Let's get back to the email. Because this one's all over the place. Let's see. College football playoffs were bonkers. I remember leaving my graduation early to go to the second half of the Cavs-Warriors game 4. The Olympics were great. Jokic truly came into form that year and really challenged the field. Truly an incredible year in sports. And I wonder if we will ever see one like that again. I really hope so. If you don't believe this was the greatest overall sports year of our generation, I'd love to hear no, I don't have a counter for you. Brother, in yours and I's lifetime, it's 2016. Because what's crazy is, this is what I mean. We got another thing that I got to go, you forgot to mention the fact that the Chicago fucking Cubs won a World Series. You talk about the Cavs coming back from down 3-1. The Chicago Cubs were down 3-1 to the Cleveland Indians in the World Series. We got a lot of Cleveland fans that listen to this program, and I'm sorry. We can do the Cavs thing all you want, but we got to remember the flip side of this, right? What happened 5 months later? The Chicago Cubs came back from down 3-1 in one of the most electric Game 7s, not just in the World Series, one of the craziest Game 7s of any sport in North America that I've ever seen in my life. The Chicago Cubs did it. Joe Buck was on that call, and he nailed it. The Cubs win the World Series. Rizzo immediately puts the ball in his pocket. You talk about Javi Baez and Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant being immortalized in this city forever. You throw John Lester on there. You throw David Ross on there. You'd love to throw David Ross on there, but then they fucking kicked David Ross to the curb about a year ago right now, and they're like, we can get fucking Craig Counsell in the building. Bye, David Ross, you fucking little cripple. I don't know what they called him when they kicked him out, but that is exactly what happened. After that guy just won you a fucking World Series, all right, whatever. So that's part of it. The Chicago Cubs, 108 years that they went without winning a World Series. Yeah, sure, the Cleveland Cavaliers, yep, that did happen. That did happen. As a basketball program, it's like, oh, you want me to talk about the Cavs again? I mean, I just said we were maybe going to talk about it. Cleveland fans, I just kind of pooped on your whole team. So it'd be nice if I gave you a little pick-me-up. I don't need to do that. If you need some fucking guy on the internet to be like, that championship was cool. Yeah, but look at the cataclysmic events the domino effect that you caused. Because of that, you pissed off the Warriors so much that they went to the Hamptons and invited Kevin Durant. And then they were like, wait, what if we just played together? What if we just did that? And Kevin Durant was like, holy shit, I didn't even think about that. And then they did that. And then what ended up happening over the next few years? You lost a lot. Except on Christmas Day, Richard Jefferson had a really cool dunk on Christmas Day. That was cool. But it was because of you guys that happened. Something to chew on if you're a Cleveland sports fan. But I agree with you. It was 2016, and in our lifetimes, there is nothing that comes close. Had ended up having a few corrections there, but brother, we ended up getting there in the end. Let's do another one. This one comes into us from Christian. Christian, potentially welcome back to the show. I'll just say welcome to the show. The subject line is very simple. It's a little bit misleading. I'm going to take this in the direction that you don't think I'm going to take it in. Hey, Nick, watching episode 105 at the moment, and the Dynasty email came up. I dislike Dynasties, but they create phenomenal storylines. My personal experience with Dynasties is this. This is kind of a long email, so I might try to chop it up a little bit. Watching LeBron destroy my Raptors so badly year after year hurt more than the Warriors possibly could, but I'll get into that in just a second. LeBronto is hilarious in retrospect, but it stung so bad in 2017-2018 as it represented how he completely dominated the Raptors. Seeing my team completely fall apart every time they played LeBron's Cavs is the most painful sports experience I've ever had. It was utter destruction. LeBron could just impose his will on Toronto every series from 2015 to 2018. Toronto versus LeBron's Cavs in the playoffs was 2-12. Holy smokes. The Warriors dynasty has made the Raptors 2019 championship undervalued. People always talk about how Toronto got lucky with injuries. Clay played 4 games and 3/4 of a game 6th. KD was out the whole series, but basically so was OG. The Raptors earned every bit of that championship. The Kawhi for DeRozan trade was a phenomenal win-now trade. Fred VanVleet was signed. Another trade that gets forgotten is JV plus stuff for Marc Gasol. That did happen. And I'm going to speed ahead here because you're going to say a bunch of stuff that, like, brother, I'm going to give you credit for, so don't worry about it. We slayed the Warriors KD-less, yes, but the Raptors are the team that started the unprecedented level of parity that the NBA has seen over the last 6 seasons. I'm including this season. Yet the importance and the path it took to get there is completely missed by most NBA fans. 2020, you have LeBron winning his last ring with the Lakers, plus the COVID/Mickey Mouse ring stuff. 2021 is Giannis's first ring. He's homegrown, so that adds wrinkles. 2022 is Steph winning his 4th without KD and Iguodala. 2023 is Jokic's first ring. 2024, the Jays finally win one. Celtics have more than the Lakers, and it's Luka's first finals. Dynasties shape eras. I think the Raptors will get lost in the margins of history. 2010s were defined by LeBron, the Warriors with a sprinkle of the Spurs, and Kobe and Dirk. The 2020s will be seen as unprecedented competition with a new generation of stars and teams coming in. I feel that the Raptors have been and will continue to be forgotten between giants, just as the 1978 Bullets and the 2004 Pistons. Christian, thank you very much for this email, brother. I'm going to pump the brakes on that last bit a little bit. People forget about the 2004 Warriors. Listen, there's going to be a little bit of home cooking in this take. That's not true at all. It's not true a little bit at all. I don't think it is, at least, right? Because the thing that's been consistent with the Pistons in their franchise history, if they win a championship, it's when they're interrupting a glamour party in the NBA. Back in when it was the Bad Boys, they were interrupting Bird and Magic, and then the Bad Boys helped usher in a new glamour party in Michael Jordan. And then what happened when it was 2004? The going to work team, right? Which is a different piece of this that we'll discuss in just a second. So the Lakers are what in hashtag dynasty mode? For the early 2000s, it was like the late 90s and the early 2000s. It was either the Spurs or the Lakers. Like that was literally it. And then what happened? The Lakers are going for a three-peat with Shaq and Kobe. You have Karl Malone, who's he's on his last breath, man. He just wants to be on a team that's competitive, and he tries to win a ring that year. Doesn't work. Who else was on there? I was going to say Danny Glover. Danny Glover was not playing basketball for the Lakers in 2004. It was fucking, it was the glove. It was Gary Payton. That's where I got confused. Didn't work, right? So you'll never forget that the Pistons were able to win that championship. By the way, nobody thought they were fucking going to. It was a ragtag team. It was a defensive-minded team that had zero superstars. People aren't going to forget that piece of it. The other piece of it that you cannot possibly forget is that was the year that they drafted Darko. People will never forget that happened. People will never forget that they could have had their choice. LeBron goes first. They could have had Carmelo Anthony. They could have had Dwayne Wade. They could have had Chris Bosh. But they took Darko Milicic and still won a championship despite that. I'm not here to do the thing where it's like, how many could they have won if they drafted any of the aforementioned three players? Don't fucking care because they won one. You know how hard it is to win one? You know how many people listening to this right now, basketball or not, would love to see their team win one championship? And that's what ended up happening, right? And this was not isolated success, by the way. By the way, I'm not mad at all. This is not isolated success. They went to the finals the next fucking year. And who was it? Who did we say? The late 90s and the early 2000s, it was either the Spurs or the Lakers. In 2004, they played the Lakers. They kicked the shit out of them. In 2005, they played the San Antonio Spurs. And Robert Horry fucking sucks. And he won the series, effectively, for the San Antonio Spurs. Right? How many damn Eastern Conference finals in a row did the Pistons go to? In the early to like late 2000s. Wasn't it like 6? They were like the damn New York Jets, the Rex Ryan, Mark Sanchez, Bart Scott, Jonathan Vilma, Darrell Rivas, New York Jets, just constantly going to conference championship games or series and then just like never doing it. They did it the one time and they did it, the 2 times, and they went 1 for 2. I can't complain about that, right? Let's get back on the road with this thing though. Are people going to forget the 2019 Toronto Raptors? I think that you may just be a victim of watching other people shit on your team just because that's like just such is life on the internet, right? People are just going to hate on everything. First of all, the Mickey Mouse ring shit isn't real. I cannot wait for that to get out of people's heads that there's and maybe you were just goofing. I'm not even saying this specifically to you, brother. But like the Mickey Mouse ring for the bubble is the biggest little horse shit I've ever seen. It's so annoying to me. But I don't think people will forget the Toronto Raptors winning that because of what you said about Kawhi and the DeRozan trade, right? And how like unprecedented that whole thing was and watching it unravel and how good Kawhi Leonard was in the playoffs that season, how good Kyle Lowry was in the playoffs that season. That was like the real renaissance is people's brains getting like electrocuted and being like, holy shit, Kyle Lowry. Like everyone was a fucking sleeper agent. And you see Kyle Lowry's big dump truck Pixar mom ass bouncing up and down the court. He's getting 15 assists a game. He's hitting like nasty fucking threes. Pascal Siakam was awesome during the entire run. Kawhi Leonard, I think, and I'm not going to fact check this. I think he made like 85% of his mid-range shots. It might have been upwards of 100%, honestly. The dude was a killer. You can talk about the shot that he had against Philly all you want, but it was the whole damn thing. And if this is really what you want to say, you guys did kill the KD Warriors. You did. Yeah, sure, they were hurt. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Did those people want, the people who bitch about that, Clay tore his ACL and fucking Kevin Durant ruptured his Achilles. Oh, so you wanted the Raptors to put the ball down and be like, sorry, we forfeit the game and walk off the court. Is that what you wanted to happen? The Toronto Raptors kicked the shit out of like everybody that they played that season. And I think that has a piece in history, right? This one-off season. Because I don't know if it really matters that they were the first ones to start the whole trend of a different team winning for like 6 consecutive years up to this point. It is cool. As a Raptors fan, that is a cool little snapshot in time for you that like this sort of created a domino effect. I don't know how much the Raptors actually, I think it's just parity in the NBA at this point, right? But I think the other piece of this is, and this doesn't count for the Raptors, also the piece of it after for people who were alive and like actually watching. Remember this, what had been the middle of June that the Raptors would have won that chip. Boardman gets paid. Remember that shirt? And then the picture of Kawhi with he's holding the finals trophy, and in the reflection of his sunglasses, you just see the crowd. Holy shit, that picture to this day is so cool. It's one of my favorite championships in basketball that I've ever seen in my life. It's like them in Milwaukee. Because it was like Toronto, the Raptors. It's so cool when these teams just kind of do it. If I cared more at the time, like in 2011 or 10, it was 2010 was the Dirk Mavericks championship over there. I wanted LeBron to win, is the truth. So I remember kind of being like, fuck you, Dirk. So like, I wish I could appreciate that more, because that would also fall in line with what I'm saying here. I love when teams that you aren't expecting to do it actually do it. And I'm not saying that to be like, this is, I'm not trying to be profound. I'm just saying like, it's just fun to see. And so because of that, yeah, I would put Toronto as like one of my favorite championships that I've ever seen. Do you remember though, from the middle of June for the next like 3 weeks, just the discourse and the anxiety over what Kawhi was going to do, and like what's Uncle Dennis saying, and like, oh, people are like private jet tracking and like doing all this shit, doing like internet detective work to try to figure out what's going to happen with Kawhi. That was so, if you're a Raptors fan, that shit was not fun at all. But for someone who was on the outside looking in, like, it was really entertaining. And it was kind of what makes you go, this league about the NBA, is the drama, the histrionics, the soap opera piece of the whole thing that comes with being an NBA fan. And it does stink a little bit because you look back at that Raptors team, and it's too bad that they didn't have a name. And what I mean by that is, I finally got back to this. I said we're going to kind of do this. You think about like the going to work Pistons. Going to work. Oh, the going to work boys? Which Pistons championship are you talking about? Going to work or the bad boys? You know what I mean? They're identifiable. Whether it's a team or whether it's like a specific, like the Splash Brothers, the Heatles. How long has it been since we've had something like that in the NBA? Splash Brothers are dead. And I don't even know that really counts. Like when we look back, 10 years from now, we look back at the Warriors run that they had. How are we going to call that? Like the Splash Brothers run? Well, Kevin Durant was there. The KD Warriors? You're calling them the KD Warriors? Steph was the fucking MVP. You know what I mean? Like, how are we going to look back at that? The Heatles, I think, is the last one that was like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's not that you wouldn't know who you're talking about with the Splash Brothers. Compare and contrast with the Heatles versus the Splash Brothers. We all remember with the Heatles and the big three, as it were, a guy like Mario Chalmers was constantly trying to slot himself in and be like, actually, it's the big four. I am Mario Chalmers, and I am also included in this. And they were always like, fucking shut up. How about that? Try that on for size, Mario Chalmers? Shut up. One size fits all. Shut up. And that never worked. You had guys that like knew their role, like Norris Cole. Unintentional rhyme. I do that from time to time. Dr. Seuss in this news. Mike Miller. Birdman. Everybody loved Birdman. They weren't trying to weasel their way in. What I'm getting at here is you didn't see that with the Splash Brothers. I think every now and then maybe a player would make like an offhanded joke about being like a Splash cousin or something like that. But there was never anybody trying to weasel their way into the Splash family, the greater Splash pantheon. You know what I mean? I feel like if Quinn Cook really wanted to, he could have done that. I don't think it was really like Leandro Barbosa's character to do something like that. Who's another one that I could think of? There's like more in that, you know what I mean? Like everybody just kind of let them do their thing because nobody was like them. There was nobody who could even be in the echelon, in the you know what I mean? It just couldn't have happened. Other than that, who's like the last team? What did we call the Celtics? It was just the big three Celtics. That's all that it was, because that's a real landmark of like starting a new era of this is how we are going. I'm not saying they invented big threes, but in terms of modern basketball, that was a huge domino to fall in terms of this is how we are constructing our team. We want 3 all-stars and then a bunch of dudes on the margins. And I think it's crazy that we finally found our way out of that. That's not how you want to build a team anymore. It's completely over. Matt Ishbia Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I hope that didn't pick up on the mic. I hate coughing into the microphone. At least Joseph Tsai had the presence of mind to be like, oh, this fucking is stupid and doesn't work. Let's just reset. Let's try something again. Our new big three is Nick Claxton and Cam Thomas and, like, fucking Harry Giles, which, like, no disrespect to Harry Giles, because I would love to have him on the show. That would be great. What do you say? I think there's maybe one more email that I wanted to do in here. copinghourSubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. I'll put a pin in this one, and I'll do it in a few days. Big NFL games coming up this weekend. Steelers fans, you guys got me, right? You got me. You're going to beat the Eagles? You're going to beat the Eagles. Okay, cool. All right, I just needed to make sure. It's Bears-Vikings. Isn't that the Monday night game? Bears fans, you guys got enough going on. Don't worry about it. Figure out who you want the coach to be. Don't worry about that game. Don't worry about it. The Bills. I'm fucking so sad, man. I don't want to, I don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to beat them. Of course I do. And I don't want to be like, well, I don't want to lose to them. Of course I don't. But I like them a lot. And, like, this game doesn't fucking matter. Like, it matters in the sense that, like, if you lose and the Eagles win and the Vikings win, that stinks. But as far as tiebreakers go and, like, the division, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to drop a game in the late season in this home stretch, it's probably fine to do it against an AFC team. It's probably fine. It's also probably fine to do it against the potential MVP of the league in Josh Allen. It's probably fine. I'm not going into this, by the way, thinking we're going to lose. I'm not doing that. Some people may be accusing me of doing that right now. I'm not. But I am kind of like, well, actually, we had 10 days off. And we got a lot of guys coming back from IR. And just like, not even just IR, but just being hurt. Yeah, wearing the all black uniforms. Oh, the helmets suck. I hate the blue helmets with the black uniforms. They stink. We do get Nance and Romo on the call, though. Oh, my God, yes. Football. The day that Jim Nance and Tony Romo break up, CBS breaks them up, I will make January 6th look like a sandcastle on a beach. And it's high tide. Spotify listeners, the question in the last episode I asked when the last time you went to the doctor was, I was specifically asking the men because I wanted to see if my theory was correct that once you're between the ages of like 19 and 28, the doctor's just not in your brain. You're like, cool, don't have to worry about this for the rest of my life. And then you turn 30 and you're like, fuck, I kind of want to get a physical. Like, what's going on with me? I haven't gotten there yet. I got a few more years till I get there. Yeah, that was pretty much what ended up happening. Some of you guys in there were like, the fuck? No, I went like 2 weeks ago and got a physical, or like I did whatever. You know what I mean? I did not ask why you guys are going to the doctor. Some of you still gave me that information regardless. I'll just pass that along to, we keep getting emails about fucking UFOs. And more specifically, the ones that are flying over like Mar-a-Lago, like Trump's golf course, and like military bases, and like just these random points of interest throughout the United States. There's like a bunch of drones is what it is. There's a bunch of drones that are flying around. It's so many people are like, oh my God, like what is this? Got like 6 emails this week. Nick, did you see this? You hear about this? Aliens invading the United States of America. Really? Are they invading the United States of America? The FBI does like a press briefing today as of this taping. And they were like, they are not United States military aircraft. We are aware of them. They are also not foreign. First of all, no shit. If it was foreign, you motherfuckers would be all over this going like in the sky. China sends over one weather balloon, whatever the hell that ended up being. And what did we do? We waited for it to get off of the coast of North Carolina and we glassed that shit out of the sky. No shit, it's not foreign. No, we don't know what it is. It's not a United States they're not United States military aircraft. So it's the CIA. So that's what it is. Because they are outside of the jurisdiction of, or not the jurisdiction, but the quantification of like military equipment and military operations. So that's what it is. So it's us that's doing that. It's not fucking aliens. That's not what it is. It's also like, it doesn't matter. They're not aliens. I'm completely just done with it. Not done with it, but like the UFOs and UAPs and shit like that. Man. Because what happened to like Ryan Graves and David Grush? What happened to those guys? You just don't hear from them anymore. You Rogan fans out there, I know you're out there. Where the hell's Bob Lazar? Where's that guy? Half of these people are grifters. Like complete grifters. I feel very confident that when I was a kid, I saw a UFO. I swear to God, I would testify at the risk of perjuring myself. I saw an unidentified flying object. But you can't conflate the two. It doesn't mean it was an alien. It just means I don't know what it was. Right? Drones start showing up. They're not fucking aliens. It's just some 3-lettered intelligence agency just checking some stuff out. Just like collecting some data, doing some surveillance, whatever it is. It's not a conspiracy show. I don't even think this is conspiracy. I think I'm just I'm feeling I'm being I don't know. I don't think this is that crazy. Just because the FBI's, all right. Spotify listeners, you ever seen a UFO before? You ever done that? Or like, I remember when I was a kid, I something like extraterrestrial. You have a ghost experience. Maybe you went camping and there was a fucking Bigfoot or something like that. You know what I mean? Does Bigfoot transcend the United States? I believe he's in like Canada. Well, rather that they accept that as like an anthology. That not that I think he's in fucking Canada. I think we need to nuke Canada. We need to get this Sasquatch out of there. In Mexico, it's like chupacabras. In Scotland, it would be the Loch Ness Monster. You guys believe in that? You guys believe in the Loch Ness Monster? What is it if you live in like Australia? Is it just like a big fucker? I meant to say spider, but fucker came out. Maybe it is a big fucker. I don't know. What the hell would it be? You guys don't have Bigfoot in Australia. That's insane. He needs a more moderate climate. And what is Australia if not bugs and hot? There's no way it gets cold down there. There's no way. You guys don't get snow. I'm so disillusioned by that because with how the earth tilts, like when it's winter for us right now in the States, right? It's winter, not just in the States, but you know what I mean. It's winter because we're tilted on our axis further away from the sun. And then when it's summer, it's because we tilt back closer. So we're on opposite seasonal schedules than like in Australia. So when it's Christmas, what is it, like 80 degrees? Sure, in Florida, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, you know what I mean? Like it's 80 degrees for them on Christmas, I guess. Like whatever. So what's the point? I don't know. It's weird. Stop doing that. Figure that shit out. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that people have never seen snow in their life. It makes complete sense to me. But I just imagine being someone who's never seen snow before and like being disillusioned because you watch all of these Christmas movies and I don't know, somewhere between 33 and 50% of Christmas as a concept is snow. Although more often than not in my lifetime at this point, I've had more green Christmases than not. I remember 2010. It's somewhere, earlier in my life, the first green Christmas, I was devastated. Where the fuck is all the snow? Sometimes you have like an inch or two. Sometimes you got 6 inches out there. More often than not, there's not that much snow. There's a lot of questions in here somewhere. I don't know. Have you ever, if you're someone who's never seen snow before, what's that like? Are you like, damn, I wish I could, do you like want to know what it tastes like? Like, have you ever wanted to like make a snowball and like eat it? That's fun to do. Love doing that. Well, the first time it snows every year, I always do that. I always eat some snow. It's like a rite of passage for me. All right, it's winter. Like if I was a gopher and I had to come out of my hole and like see a shadow, the adjacent for that as an adult man in his mid-20s is when it snows, I go outside and I eat some snow, and that's how I know that it's winter. And then I can come inside and I can tell my family, well, it's winter, folks. Grab your coats. And then what was another question? Something about Bigfoot and UFOs. And you ever seen something like extraterrestrial? You ever seen a werewolf? You ever seen a ghost? What about that? Ever seen a ghost? I don't think I've ever seen a ghost. I'm still fuzzy on what the hell a Ouija board does. Is somebody moving it? I always thought we were all doing it. We were all like good faith actors, not fucking crisis actors. Being like, oh my God, it's moving. What's the deal with those? Not to sound like Jerry. What's the deal with, that's not really a good Jerry Seinfeld. I'll workshop my Jerry Seinfeld and we'll revisit that on Monday. How about that? I'll do 60 minutes as Jerry Seinfeld. Folks, if you there's a question in there somewhere. Sorry about that, folks. It's been a weird one today. If you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to rate 5 stars. Let me know one of the questions. Let me know something cool. There's another question. Just let me know something cool. You got any factoids or something for me? Or one of the other 6 questions? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control.